And the whole sustainability positioning for us is incredibly important. We have a 100% sustainable policy by 2012, which we're working very strongly towards. One of the things you might have seen, if you go into your local supermarket, you'll see those $8, $10 Sauvignon Blancs. We got it wrong in 2008. Everybody got it wrong. We produced probably about 10% more wine than anybody was expecting, and that's the cheap wine that you're seeing that's being sold off. The good news is the last month there was about 1 million litres of 08 and about 9 million litres of 09 exported. So we've sold, it's left the country. It's now just going to sell through at Christmas, and then we're going to be on to the 09, which, if you haven't tried it already, is a fantastic vintage for our wines, as seen by the New Zealand Wine Awards, which has given 50% more silver medals to Sauvignon Blanc. So managing supply and resources is crucial. Making sure we don't grow one more grape than we can make into wine, and we don't make one more case of wine that we can sell. And that means there's a lot of individual conversations going on in the industry. And one of the key things that we get told all the time by our competitors, and our competitors are mainly France, it's not really Australia, it's France in the premium part of the market, is that we work together. We're a small country, and when we go overseas, we work together. Because what we're trying to do is grow the New Zealand category. That's what we're trying to do. We might beat each other up in New Zealand, that's fine. That's about market share. Overseas, it's about market growth, and to achieve market growth, you have to work together. So our vision is to be internationally recognised as a leading producer of highly distinctive premium quality wines. And that really informs everything that we do. So it's internationally recognised. It's distinctive premium quality wines. That's the bit of the market. So what do we do as a generic body? We're a non-profit organisation. So what we have to do is to try and give people the tools to get the key messages about New Zealand out there, about our regions, our varieties, about our country. That then is a basis for them to tell their own individual brand story. And particularly to come out with a new branding and a positioning for New Zealand wine, so that when they understand and talk about New Zealand wine, they're thinking about the same things. And we went through a whole brand audit a few years ago, 3 years ago, which we then launched 2 years ago for our new branding, New Zealand wine. There's some interesting, what we did is we interviewed top media and trade in Melbourne, Sydney, London, New York, Chicago, and San Francisco, so in our key markets. It's New Zealand wine, it's not wine of New Zealand. We're the only country in the world that can have New Zealand, so the country name and then wine on the label. So that's what we suggest our wineries do. It's not Australia wine, it's wine of Australia, it's not France wine. It is New Zealand wine. So the Fern, obviously, with our grapes. The Pure Discovery as well, it's about, at that premium end of the market, particularly overseas, consumers want to be able to discover something, bring something new. That's how they get kudos. So that sense of discovery, people know us for our Sauvignon Blanc. If you look at the 102 gold medals awarded in the New Zealand Wine Awards, which we run, only 13 went to Sauvignon Blanc. So there's a lot of other varieties that people can still discover. We've got some fantastic Chardonnays, Syrahs, Cabernet Merlot, etc. And Pure, it's that sustainability positioning, but also it's inherently true about our wine. So we had a target of achieving $1 billion of exports by 2010, and due to the size of the 08 vintage, we actually achieved it a year early. There's a little word in there called at profitable prices. And we've been affected by the exchange rates, as I know you guys have. It's really, really hard to predict that. But also by those marginal extra cases of wine that were produced really have an impact on the whole market. So we're very focused on trying to make sure we get supply and demand together. And domestic sales of $500 million. That's our key markets in red. So in white, the top three. UK and Australia now are pretty much exactly the same size. And the US, those three markets account for 80% of our exports. And then the focus is Canada, Asia, and mainland Europe. So that's how we've grown. 10 years ago, the UK was very much our largest market by far, and we were hardly selling any wine into Australia. And you can see how that's progressed over the past 10 years. And Australia is the one that's really taken off. Doubled in the last 2 years. And the States, which was pretty much the same as Australia, is now almost half of Australia. So the UK and Australia are largest markets by volume. Australia our largest market by value, because the supermarkets in the UK, which you might have a little dealings with, are pretty tough on pricing. So our average realisable value for a case of wine is much less in the UK than it is in Australia. Looking forward, next 5 years, we're still seeing good export growth, another 50% growth in the next 5 years. With Australia and UK still 30 to 40%, but we're really expecting some strong growth in the States, almost 90%. And there's a lot of focus going on in there, as there is in Asia. China this year is our 4th largest market for Pinot Noir, our 3rd largest for Merlot, and our 2nd for Cabernet Merlot. And we have a lot of events running over there to really to set up. And we see China as a premium wine market that is going to be massively important to us in the future, particularly for red wine. So our strategy, you have to be market specific. We made this mistake. We tried to do the same thing in all the markets, same thing in the UK and the States and Australia, and they're completely different structured, so you have to do the right thing for the right markets. We sell in supermarkets, we sell in independent retailers, in restaurants, and they have very different dynamics, so we have to do the right thing for those channels. We work a lot with anybody who's talking about New Zealand overseas. So, in Korea we work with the meat guys, we do stuff with the cheese guys, we do stuff with the water guys, we do stuff with NZT and New Zealand, tourism New Zealand. Anybody who can spell New Zealand will generally do something with. And the World Cup, we've already got a very strong strategy in place in terms of how we're going to leverage the fact that we've got 65,000 people coming from our key export markets and who are going to spend a lot of money when they're over here to see those games. So, we need to provide leadership in the industry, and we always challenge ourselves to be as innovative as we can. So the key people we talk to, retailers, restaurateurs and hotels, importers, distributors, fine wine influencers, and media and consumers. And more importantly, our consumers. Our whole budget from our levy is about $4 million, of which I get about $1 million. And then I put out a book